Do you point to anything specific? Half-court hustle, turnovers, second chance points?
Yes, all of them. But look, we didn't really play a good first half. We played a really good first 8 minutes. That's what we played tonight. We got stops. We got out and ran. I thought we were really good in the first 8 minutes. And after that, really the last 40 minutes of the game, it was all them. Yeah, a lot of things. I mean, the uncommon problem for us tonight was not being able to rebound the ball. We came in as the best rebounding team in the league on both boards, and we couldn't get a rebound tonight. LaMelo got 5 offensive rebounds. I mean, they tore us apart on second chance points. So that's an uncommon problem for us. The common problem is the 19 turnovers. I mean, it's got to stop. Like, you can't be a good team in this league when you just turn the ball and unforced turnovers and just giving the ball. And they had 27 points off our turnovers. I mean, it makes it tough to win. Your margin for error is small. And then defensively, I think from a coaching standpoint, we really have to go back and look at some things because right now we're giving up everything. Again, we gave up a lot of threes, but we gave up 44 points in the paint also. We fouled tonight. We really didn't do anything well defensively. And I said it before the last game, our defensive drop-off from the time coming out of training camp has been very noticeable. I thought we came out of camp with a real defensive mentality. We still made mistakes, but we came out with a defensive mentality. And over the last 4 games, we've had really very little defensive mentality, defensive disposition. So we got to look at how much of that is just things where we've got to be fundamentally better defensively, individually and as a team, and whatever adjustments we might have to make as a coaching staff in some of our schemes.
That defensive mentality may be the answer to this next question, but we've seen several games now where this team is in it at the end and they just can't close. The win slips away. How would you like to see this team finishing games differently?
Well, we can't get stops. I mean, if you go back to the San Antonio game, I think they had, that was a close game we won. Toronto, we got stops in those games at the end of the game. Like, we had trouble in the Toronto game defensively, and down the stretch we got stops. San Antonio game, down the stretch we got stops. I mean, the entire second half tonight, Jen, we couldn't stop them at all. I mean, could not stop them. They were, and when they missed, we couldn't get a rebound, so they'd still end up with a bucket. I mean, it was very, very frustrating, I'm sure, for our players, and it was frustrating to watch. But we've got to get a lot better at the defensive end of the floor. I think we should be a good defensive team. I think we should be a top 10 defensive team. Over the last 4 games, we're a bottom 10 defensive team. That can't be us. We can't win like that. And we've got to get at least in the top half of the league in taking care of the ball. If we can do those 2 things, we're going to be good. But those are big asks right now.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, the uncommon problems you mentioned tonight was the rebounding, specifically defensive, and just appeared when they went small and you had to counter with a small lineup. That's how they were able to get all those offensive rebounds and second chance points.
Well, they were getting a lot of them by guys running in from the perimeter. Yeah, I mean, and we didn't put a body on anyone. I mean, it was we were standing and watching, and they're running after the ball. It was frustrating to watch, and we've got to figure out a way to go in and drill on that when we come in on Sunday, because that's been our strength. But we can't rely on our bigs to get every single rebound. I mean, our bigs and Josh. We need some other guys on the board. So it's got to be a lot better than it was tonight. A lot of things have to be a lot better than they were tonight. The frustrating thing for me is I think we need to do some things differently offensively to help our players. And I'd like to spend some time on that stuff, but I got to be able to count on our defense. And I thought 5 or 6 days ago, I would have thought that I could. Now it's like back to the drawing board in terms of defense. Like we don't have a defensive foundation whatsoever.
Hey, Coach, this is Will from The Athletic. You mentioned how the turnovers just continue to be an issue for you guys. When it's something that just expands over 3, 4, 5 games, what do you have to do to get it under control?
Well, look, I mean, a lot of it is just personal responsibility. We have so many where we're just casual with the ball. You know, we just throw it without thinking, ball gets stolen, we throw it out. I mean, come on. We got to be more professional. Some of it is our offense needs to be better, our spacing needs to be better to make plays. Some of it is, you know, we've got to take a look at things and where we're forcing plays. But if you're an individual player and you're continually turning the ball over 4 times a game, like, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. And you have to adjust your offense, and it's got to stop. And it's not. And, you know, like, I don't want to get to this, but the best college basketball coach I have ever seen is Dick Bennett, Tony's father. And when Dick Bennett was coaching at Wisconsin Green Bay, my brother had gone to one of his practices, and he asked him, because every year Dick's team's top of the country for taking care of the ball, and he asked him, you know, what do you guys work on so that you cut the turnovers? He said, Jeff, it's the simplest thing in the world. Don't play the guys who turn it over. I don't want to get to that, you know, because some of those guys we need, and some of those guys have to create shots, and they're going to turn it over some. But we can't have everybody out on the floor turning the ball over. We need some guys in our starting lineup especially who will take care of the ball.
And Christian Clark with NOLA.com, you talked a lot about laying that defensive foundation. I know this is a very weird season, but in previous situations, how long, you know, has it taken to get that foundation down?
Well, listen, when I went to Miami, it was easy because we had a great defensive foundation when I took over there. When I took over in Orlando from Brian Hill, they had a pretty solid defensive foundation. You didn't really have to turn it around or anything. Those same guys had a pretty good defensive foundation. Detroit, it took a long time. You know, we eventually got there, but it didn't. I mean, we didn't get there even in the first year. I mean, you know, it's tough. We should be a good defensive team here. We should. I believe in these guys defensively. We've got a great anchor in Steven Adams. We've got 2 guards who are really capable of defending. Brandon Ingram is more than capable of defending. Josh Hart is a very good defender. As far as individual ability, we've got plenty of individual ability to be a very, very good defensive team. And again, I'm not putting it all on the players either. We have to take a look at the schemes we're using and things like that and think about whether or not we're doing the best thing for our team, if there's things we can adjust. Because I'm just saying to you, and I'm right there with the players. We're all in this together. I'm not pointing fingers. What I'm saying is we should be a good defensive team. We should. Will it take a little time? Yeah, it shouldn't take that long because we have good defenders. This should be a good defensive team.
Stan Andrew from CBS in New Orleans. How do you feel like young players in the NBA learn a killer instinct to be able to close out games? And does it take losing some painful games to be able to develop with that experience?
Look, I don't know. Like, we closed out the San Antonio game. We closed out the Toronto game. I mean, you know, so it's not like we haven't closed out any games. We've played 5 close games. We've won 2 of them. We've lost the last 3. The problem is, Andrew, that in the last 3, right, it's a big part of that has been a total inability to get stops. That's what bothers me, you know. Like, we can't dig in and get a stop when we need to. We couldn't do it the other night, and we couldn't do it tonight. So I'm frustrated, not because, again, I don't want anybody to take this wrong. I'm not mad at my players. These guys are working hard. I know they want to get it done. They've got to do a better job, certainly. But we're all in it together. I'm frustrated because we should be a good defensive team, and because there's no excuse for any team to turn the ball over as much as we do on a consistent basis.